James says, well, it's clear that Manning should be out now, Webber out, but more importantly, Knapper out. This is what happens when you flip-flop philosophies with the head coach that you appoint. We have a disjointed squad, and we have a club that is sleepwalking to relegation. Oh my goodness. Welcome back to Where Canaries Walk. Hope you are doing well. We're of course recording this just after the latest loss, and 6 in a row at home to Bristol City. We've got our panel back with us, and of course we're talking about genuinely our Norwich relegation candidates. Calls for sack the board. How likely is that to happen? And the Derby County game midweek now becomes a must-win. Plus, we'll carry on doing our A to Z of Norwich City. Hope you're all doing a lot better than these three Canaries are. He's still smiling. But, Tom, is this getting now beyond a joke?
It's a concern. It's a real concern. I think we came back into yesterday's game with obviously, hurt and licking our wounds from the Ipswich game, yes, but with a sort of refreshed optimism / I don't know, perhaps delirium at that point of that we were going to turn it around. And yeah, I think we're now we are now in trouble.
Matt, even if Manning goes, the new players that have been signed by the club, are they good enough at this level? Have we figured out that even with a new coach, you could still be relegation candidates?
No, I don't want to sound too grandiose about the squad that we've got, because clearly something's not working. But we have a squad that should be definitely top 10, maybe even top 8, in my opinion. The money we've spent over the summer, and the salaries won't be small, Mark, that we're paying. I know we've offloaded a lot of older heads in the likes of Barnes and Fashnacht and so on. But in terms of the players that we brought in, this squad of players should be doing a lot better than they are.
Yeah, Russ says, I've given up on this season already. It's just trash football. Imagine Delia finally gets bought out by an ambitious, rich American, and then after spending some decent money, it makes us actually worse. I mean, only could happen to Norwich, couldn't it, Killian?
Yeah.
Where are you at now?
Be careful what you wish for. Delia out brigade. It is disheartening to see the performances going the way. Something has to change. We can't just keep putting out the same team, playing the same way and expecting a different result. Will be insanity. So something has to change. Unfortunately, I haven't seen anybody coming up with a bright idea as to what that change would be. Because, there's a lot of people saying Manning should go. Other people saying, well, what difference is it going to make? Can't become a Watford and just keep sacking managers every 6 or 8 weeks. Or a Nottingham Forest. So,
are any of you picking up any signs that the players are downing tools for him now, and that there's a clear disconnect between the players and the manager?
I think just before we came on, I just had a quick look again at yesterday's winning goal and sort of picked out a few bits, and it's quite evident that McCarman's not tracked his man, but we had a warning shot before the goal of the same thing, and the problem is that if we're going to play expansive football that Manning wants us to play, we need to be disciplined and fit enough to get back in and tuck back in when we are defending, whether they hit us on the counter attack or not. I think the majority of the squad is still behind Manning. I would probably say that there's one or two that might be starting to wobble a little bit, but I think Tuesday's game against Derby now is absolutely massive in terms of does he wheel out the same squad and expect to Killian's point that it's going to come good and just turn into miraculously turn into a win, or is he actually going to make some changes? And you say about does it make any difference if we do sack Manning? Is that really going to have an impact? I think unfortunately when you look at the wider picture at Norwich, and we talk about the board and Knapper and all the rest of it, I think the only thing that unfortunately would have an impact is probably the head coach, is probably the manager, the immediate impact in terms of affecting on the pitch.
Yeah, because if the American owners, thanks Tom, came in, Matty, and got rid of Knapper and all those connected to him, it doesn't change anything on the training ground, does it, or the pitch? So unfortunately, it is looking like if you're going to get the change which you all want, he's going to have to go, isn't he?
I think, though, just Mark, on that, I think there's one radical thing we could try, and I know this might get a lot of fans up in arms, but maybe bench Sargent. I've noticed that, and again, it might just be lack of confidence, but the players are just trying to get the ball to Sargent, and they're not willing to shoot. Now, Mattson shot a few times now. He needs target practice because he was miles off, but at least he had a pop. I've noticed with McCama, with Gibbs, people who would have shot in the past, and we saw the same phenomenon with Pookie towards the end, that people just constantly tried to get the ball to Pookie. Sarge is marked out of the game. I'd love to see McCama or even Cernach put up front, up top, to see would it make a difference when they're in their natural position.
Okay, I can hear the comments now, Killian, saying that Cernach should be put to the top. I mean, his interviews, Matty, I don't think are helping him, because I listened to, I think, what was done on Radio Norwich, or it might have been BBC Radio Norwich, and he was calling out players and talking about what didn't happen and what should have happened, and I just always think back to when. My dad's been a coach and my brother's done coaching qualifications. One of the things you don't do is publicly, anyway, call out players, and I always think there's no going back for a coach after that.
You're on a hiding to nothing, aren't you? And he's for a long time. Well, not a long time. He's not been there a long time, but for a while now, he said, "Oh, we're too nice, and it's not good enough, and this and that." And yesterday, I was looking at a quote earlier, and he said, It's nice. We come into work every day. It's a nice environment, nice facilities, nice food. And I'm like, what the hell are you going on about, mate? Like, don't talk about that behind the scenes. Like, and equally, don't throw your players under the bus in public. The two don't marry up whatsoever. And yeah, as soon as he's done this a couple of times, actually, unfortunately. He's mentioned players, he's mentioned lads not maybe putting the effort in. And whether you agree with that or not, as fans, as how we see it, it's not for it's not you don't do that. Like, unfortunately, whilst I disagree with the fact that irrespective of fan base and club, players have unfortunately all of the power now. So you don't do that, because they're going to down tools. Because we saw what happened last year. The players down tools and essentially threw Hoff Torp under the bus as of probably Easter onwards. If he's going to start doing that in October, bloody hell, it's going to be a long season, isn't it?
Yeah, let's look at this one. Phil says, our worst fears, Tom, have come true. This is feeling like 2009 all over again. I thought these days were long gone. These owners need to wake up and do something fast. I mean, are there three worse teams than Norwich in the league at the moment for you?
Yeah, there are. I think the other thing about 2009 is that we were made up of loan players. We didn't have, and again, you could say, Tom, we don't have an identity now. We don't have a philosophy now. Yeah, but I mean, 2009 was a completely different kettle of fish. I think if, I could put my yellow and green tinted glasses on, and you could say we created enough chances yesterday to score a goal. And I think, yes, we did. Right. So, yes, everyone, oh, Tom, you're a happy clapper, you're this and that. I get it, right? We lost the game, and there's no hiding from that. But the game was on a knife edge, and really it was about who got the first goal as to who was going to win that game. If that game finished 0-0 yesterday, I think everybody would have come away a bit flat, but they would have gone, yeah, do you know what? We probably didn't deserve to lose it. On balance, we probably didn't deserve to win it, but we've still created enough chances. I mean, yes, I appreciate over the test of time, if we get to 25 games in and we are still flirting with the bottom three, then we are banging trouble, of course. But, I don't think it's as bad as that yet. Famous last words.
I would just jump into that. I agree with that, Tom, but I would just say that my biggest concern right now is that we are mid-October and that we've got a team in Bristol City who had one fit central midfielder out fighting us yesterday. They had double the amount of shots. They had more shots on target. They had more corners. They created more chances. They made more tackles. They made more blocks. You can't be outfought at home. You can't be outfought at home by a team who, as a head coach, you put your 11 out there and they should be properly up for it, because it's the 11 that not the 11, but it's the team that you've just left in the summer to come to this club, a bigger club with a bigger history and a bigger, more recent success. And you can't get outfought at home by a team with one fit central midfielder. That is completely unacceptable. So I agree with what Tom's saying, as much as it could have finished 0-0, it could have finished 1-1, we could have scored. I think there's an underlying problem. and it's that this team either isn't working hard enough for the manager, or his tactics aren't competent enough, or they're not being got across enough to the players. But irrespective of tactics or not, you've got to work hard. I don't want to sound like Roy Keane, but you can't be around and out fought by a.
But I also think, Matty, that this season, like if you look at the teams in the league, it's not a great league this season. Like if you look at Burnley and Leeds last season, they were top. You know, I haven't seen that many teams. Yeah, I know Middlesbrough have gone a good run, but like they didn't look amazing when they came to Carrow Road. We should have beaten Coventry away. It was an extra time goal they got, and we probably would have been lucky to beat them. But we didn't lose to them. So like teams are not great. So even though we are way down there, like Bristol didn't look like an amazing team. Yes, you're right, they did fight hard, but.
But that's just to play devil's advocate there. Is that not even more concerning, because the league hasn't been great for 3 or 4 years, and we should as finances, infrastructure, the squads that we've had haven't been terrible for the last. I know they've not been brilliant for the last 2 or 3 years, but in terms of individuals in the last 2-3 years, Sarah, Wendia, Sarah, Rowe. Obviously Sargent, the like Saints, the likes of players, Winnersh, the likes of players that we've had. I knew that I'd cripple him. The likes of players that we've had, we should be doing better. So if the league hasn't been fantastic quality, then we'll have a long hard look at ourselves and go, "Oh, we missed a chance here." And that's exactly the thing that we're walking into this year. Because as you say, Killian, you're right. Middlesbrough were bang average when it came to Carrow Road.
But we're bang average. We are now bang average.
That's the problem.
The problem is Norwich fans expect us to, again, tin hat on, to go straight back up every time. This is what our 4th season in a row in this division. We are, unfortunately, and it's hard for me to accept as much as anybody else. We are mid-table championship fodder at the moment. We are, and unfortunately, Ipswich suffered the same fate, obviously in the division for as long as they were. Before they weren't. And they needed a reset. And I don't want us to even consider, that we need to go down to go back up and all the rest of it, because I don't think we're in that position just yet. I mean, we've got a £25 million striker up front, for God's sake. Do you know what I mean? I mean, Killian, your point about benching Sarge for Tuesday would be, I think, I don't think you're wrong. I think, I think it's an interesting take. And I think actually, when you look at the parallels between him and Pookie, yes, people did just want to give the ball to Pookie to create go and do something, go and do something for us. And yeah, I don't think we're a million miles off it. And I know I sound like a happy clapper and all the rest of it, but I don't think we're a million miles off it. It's I mean, I sound like Liam Manning. I've obviously shaved my head like that. But it is fine. Genuinely, it's fine margins. It is fine margins.
Must be the Bristol air that's getting you.
It's not the Bristol hair, I can tell you that for free.
Let's have a look at the next 5 fixtures. We've got another international break coming up in a second. Matty, just to give you the context of, I'm sure you know already, but Derby County fans, they put the worst performance of the season in against Oxford on Saturday. They are not happy at all with John Eustace. In fact, they have said he must beat Norwich to survive. Calls for him to go. So this is El Sacchio coming on Tuesday night for some reason. Then it's away to Swansea, which is an awful trip to make. And then home games against Hull and Leicester, sandwiched in between what should be a routine win at Hillsborough, given what's going on there. So, I mean, God, if he loses to Derby, Matty, if they lose 1-0 in the 90th minute, is he gone before Swansea? Should he be gone before Swansea?
Possibly. It's strange, right? Because I'm of the opinion that we keep him for as long as possible until his position is completely untenable. Because
how long is that then?
December. I'd originally said mid-December to late December, about 2 or 3 weeks ago. With Ipswich, with obviously the weekend's result, naturally that gets shorter and shorter, doesn't it, as we go on? But I think until that next international break that you've just mentioned, which is, I guess, obviously after this Leicester fixture, he's got 5 games. He's got 5 games to turn it around, and he's got, the good thing for him is he's got games in quick succession, because in the case of in the space of the putting right. Managers, players, everyone always goes on and say, the last thing you want is a big gap between fixtures, and he's got a chance now, and the players have got a chance now that in a couple of days to put this right. And then the same, following that whole game up to Sheffield Wednesday, which, to be fair, we haven't got a fantastic record there of late, but yeah, I still maintain Mark December-ish.
Okay. Let us know in the comments how many games you would personally give him. I mean, by the time you watch this, he might have been sacked. We're all just assuming that we're all going to get to Pride Park, and it's not going to be that. Just before we move on from this, I know it's nothing to do with Norwich anymore, but Killian Jack Wilshere was appointed this week at Luton. Does that surprise you?
No, it doesn't really. I mean, I think he's obviously an ambitious lad. He only had 2 games with us in charge, and the players seem to like him. So I think it's a good opportunity for him, a league down, to see what he's made of.
Okay.
I don't think, despite the romantic side of it, that he was ready for Norwich. But let's see what have Luton got to lose at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Brilliant. Right, to finish off then this week, we're going back to our A to Z of Norwich City. We've done A, we've done B. So who gets in your book for C? Ian Culverhouse was given for AI, which I'm not sure is a decent shout or not, but you'll sure let us know in the comments. Tom, any ideas for you? You can't put yourself in.
I think following my loan trail last week, I'll go with Peter Crouch, who also played for us on loan 20 years ago. Peter Crouch, I think there's a bit in Ewan Roberts' book that he was asking for longer leg tracksuit bottoms for the whole time he was at the club, and Peter Crouch turned up on loan from a Premier League club and got them within a day. So, that 2004-5 season or 3-4 season with Crouch and Huckabee on loan. So I'll go with Peter Crouch.
Are you exclusively doing loan players, Tom, for this?
Maybe that's my feature. Maybe that's it.
Okay. Matty?
Culverhouse is an interesting one. Crook as well. I think some people might shout Crook. But in terms of the generation of players I've seen, someone whose name and appearances and a couple of worldly goals will live fond in my memory is Andrew Croft. I saw him score a worldie at Barnsley, and I don't know what year it was. I don't know, honestly. 2000, could be anywhere.
2009.
Was it 2010?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Where he flicked it up and it was ridiculous. It was fashion-esque. So, I'm going to go Croft for that one. Croft.
Killian?
There's only one I can go for, and that's the reason I support Norwich in the first place, and that's Mick Channon.
Okay. Well, I can't believe you all missed the obvious one, which just has to go in there.
What, Sargent?
Surely the A to Z of Norwich City is not complete without Carrow Road.
Well, I mean, you could ask our owners that on our board at the moment, and that's another subject for another day, right?
Okay.
Yeah, moving fans around and all that. I mean,
okay, right.
Best to not mention Carrow Road.
Right. Okay. Right. Let us know in the comments what have we missed then. Otherwise, unless we get anything, unanimous in the comments, we're gonna have to put Carrow Road in. Sorry, whether you like it or if you like it or not.
Liam Manning as well.
You can't not put your home ground in. Right. D next week. Join us for that. Good luck against Derby. Fingers crossed you get 3 points. You've been better away from home, haven't you? So, let's see what happens there. And we'll see you on the other side of it. Thank you very much for watching. Do drop us a quick subscribe and a quick like as well. It's one of the fastest growing Norwich content out there on the internet. We're grateful to have you on board with it. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Glenn. Thanks, Matty. We'll see you all next week.